So good morning. Welcome to the Callaway Chamber of Commerce webinar on the Missouri Small Business Development Center. We are so excited to have this group presenting for us today to give our small businesses in Callaway County an idea of what services the Small Business Development Center can provide. So Mark, I'm going to turn it over to you to let you introduce your crew to our participants today.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for allowing us to talk with you this morning. 9 a.m. I know everyone's busy, so we have a short presentation about the Sbdc, and then after that we'll take some questions, and hopefully you find it worthwhile. My name is Mark Christian. I'm the director at the University of Missouri Small Business Development Center in Columbia. We cover about 6 counties out of our center. There are, I believe, 14 centers that cover the state of Missouri. And in addition to small business development, I'm also a procurement technical assistance specialist with government contracting. So if anyone's interested in pursuing government contracts in our area, I'm more than happy to do that. And we also work with certifications such as women-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned, those type of things, and with federal contracting and state contracting. In addition to me, you have Traven Shelton. And Traven, how are you this morning?
I'm doing fantastic, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah. And Traven is our Director of Business Growth Services, specializing in helping those businesses that have, 10, 20 employees, something like that, Traven, right? Take the next steps that want to grow. And he's been with the program for about 5 years. And then we also have Bob Schwartz and Jennifer Pressberry, and they're heading up a new initiative that we'll talk about that I'm really excited to introduce you guys to. Which is the Sbdc Engagement Center that's helping us reach businesses. I know as a director, I've been here about 2 years in Columbia, and that everything seems to be so much around Columbia, right? And a lot of resources and so forth. And so this engagement center is hopefully going to help us with outreach and reach those businesses out in Callaway that maybe have never even heard of the Small Business Development Center. So I'm very excited. So today, let's see here. Let me talk a little bit about who we are and what we do, and the new initiative I mentioned to assist businesses in Callaway County. And then how do you connect with the Missouri Spdc at MU? Okay. So who we are. So this kind of gives us, we are, the Small Business Development Center is funded by the Small Business Administration. And what they do, they basically give X amount of dollars to the university to handle our administration. And then the university contracts with other organizations, other universities, other nonprofit organizations throughout the state to provide small business development center services, right, to assist small business owners. And small business, as defined by the SBA, is anyone that basically, there's some rough numbers there, but if you have 500 employees or less, it's kind of a good, there's also some revenue numbers and so forth involved in that, and there's a formula. But in general, if you have 500 employees or less, per the SBA, you are a small business. And so we work with everyone from the person that has that idea to the person that may have 300 or 400 employees. And so it's really wide. What we do, we do a lot of one-on-one counseling, right? You'll sit down with one counselor, 2 counselors, 3 counselors, depending on. Here at Columbia, we do a lot of co-counseling. So you typically, when a small business owner meets with one of our counselors, you actually meet with 1 or 2, maybe 3 people, depending on what your where you're at and what issues that you have on your plate. Everything is at no cost. even our training is at low cost, or just maybe above, whatever cost that we have. We may pass that along, but oftentimes it's at no cost. One-on-one counseling, advice, resources, and research is always at no cost. There's some things that may cost us money that we pass along those costs, but oftentimes, counseling is always at no cost. And we say no cost because our only goal is to help business owners succeed, right? Your success is how we win. And if you're successful, then we're successful. And I think that's one thing I love about the job. All we have to do is help you win and help you make that decision. And some of the times that decision is, I need to close my shop, or this isn't a good idea. I don't need to invest in this, or I don't need to expand right now. I need to wait, or whatever that is, whatever that decision is. And our approach is to provide you information and the resources to help make the right decision for you. And the right decision is whatever is best for you at a given time. And so we do that through advising and counseling. And then we also provide training, we're working on a new training with SEO. In February, we plan on launching a 6-part series called Based on the Profit Mastery. If you're not familiar with that, that is a great financial analysis program. It teaches you all about how, what your P&L means, what your cash flow statement is, and what your balance sheet is, and how they interact. And now, as a business owner, you can look at those numbers and determine how you're doing, right? And what the relationship between the different parts of those financial sheets and what they mean. So I'm very excited about that too. I think that's something we've never offered here. At least not in the last 10 years in the state of Missouri. But a lot of banks, a lot of commercial lenders go through the program. And so we're hoping to offer it to small business owners. And then, of course, we will have some bankers in the class. But it's very successful on a national level. And so we're happy to bring that here at first to the Columbia area, to mid-Missouri. As we talked about, we work with clients from, hey, I have an idea, to, hey, I really want to grow, right? And I'm not sure what I need to do. Where's my market? And so forth. And our only goal is your success, right? And you pay us by sharing that success with us. That's how we really get paid. So you make your first $1 million, or your sales go up by $1 million, you get a loan for, from the bank for an extra $100,000 to invest in that inventory you need, and you share that. You hire 10 new employees. You share that information with us, and that's how we get paid. And we keep working together, and keep helping you build your business and moving forward, right? Sorry, I seem to have a little bit of lag this morning on these slides. I keep clicking the slides and they're not coming up. So how we help? So we do a lot of business plans. We use a online platform called LivePlan, and LivePlan allows you to develop a business plan that fits SBA specs through any web browser. Right. And then we can co-counsel and talk over without you ever having to leave your office, and immediately leave my office, and we can talk online. And then, of course, we have expert counselors throughout the state, 14 centers, as I mentioned. One of our specialties at Mizzou is tech counseling, where we assist with pursuing small business innovation research grants and small business technical research grants. So it's really the same thing. It's federal dollars to develop new products and services that the federal government may be interested in. And obviously through various market research, tools and resources, education, training, capitalization, financial analysis, and networking. And then Traven is going to help me out here and talk about all the various resources that we have. Traven?
Good deal. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mark. Also, too, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Tamara, for putting this together. Really appreciate it. Really excited to talk to some businesses there in Callaway County. And I'm guessing most of your businesses are in the Fulton region. Is that right, Tamara? Might be on mute there. I apologize, putting you on the spot, asking you questions.
Yes. Sorry, I was on mute.
No worries. Yeah, good deal. I have a couple of ties there. I had one of my best friends played basketball there at William Woods in Westminster, and he's best friends with the current basketball coach Justin Gilmore there at Fulton. So some ties to the area, and hopefully you all are doing well. I know it's just kicking the season off. So, anyways, appreciate the time. Mark laid the great groundwork there, the foundation for who we are, what we do. And I was just going to get into a couple of specific examples of some of the tools and resources that we have. So you can kind of say, okay, well, what does this mean for me? Because that's really what we're here to talk about is what does this mean for you as a business owner that's trying to grow your business, sustain your business, and of course, be strong for your economy there. So that's what we want to do is take the next 10 or 15 minutes to just talk through some specific examples and resources about what it is we have done with other businesses and what it is that we would like to do with you all if that comes to fruition. So really the next step from this is after this presentation is how can we connect with you all as business owners to help you with whatever that next step is. So none of this is a silver bullet. This is going to be the end all be all, but what hopefully happens from this is we entice you enough to say, let's have a meeting and let's talk through some of what it is you all can offer as a small business center. So appreciate that. Again, Mark said my name is Traven Shelton. I'm actually over in the Dixon, Missouri area. My territory, so to speak, runs from Lebanon, Missouri to Washington, so kind of on that 44 corridor, but I have statewide responsibility for the growth businesses, those businesses in that 10 to 100 range. And $1 million to $50 million in sales. Jennifer and Bob been working with them a lot on the new engagement and attraction center. So that's kind of my place here, and hopefully can work with some of your businesses there with Mark in Callaway County. So real quick, business plans. A lot of people don't have a business plan. A lot of people have maybe written a business plan for a course or for some professional development they were going through. Some people may have written a plan and put it up on a shelf. Some people may actually have a plan that they work every day. I always say, a business plan is not a static document. A business plan is something that works for you, whether that be 10 bullet points, whether that be 40 pages, whatever that plan is, as long as it's driving and helping you decide what next step to take. That's what a business plan is, making that business case for increasing profit, decreasing expenses, or becoming a more sustainable business. That's what a business plan is. So real quick example, on a business plan that you could be going after, and in some ways we might be able to help you. So you could be going after maybe the toothpaste market. So this is just a quick example. And you have some new gum that's going to keep people from having to actually brush their teeth. So you think the problem in the market is that people don't want to spend time doing this. They just want to pop a piece of gum in, and that actually completely alleviates the need to brush someone's teeth. This was just an example I thought of 15 minutes ago, and I thought, wow, this is a good business idea. So anyways, so you pop the gum in, but what you have to identify is, well, what's that target market? And most people that go into a bank may say, well, everybody's my target. Everybody brushes their teeth. Never say that. That's the worst answer you could ever tell a banker or anybody, is that everybody's your market. So what we would do as the business development center is say, okay, well, who likes to chew gum? Who maybe has dentures and can't chew gum? Who is it kids? You can't market to maybe kids because they can't chew gum yet. So you start to work through who that actual attainable market is. And then we can go out and try to help you find research to maybe target those types of individuals and actually talk to those customers. That's one big thing that we preach here at the Business Development Center, is actually doing that customer discovery and verifying what that product market fit is before you take that next step, so to speak. So if I were to ask you, and Tamara, will put you on the spot again, if I were to say, Tamara, do you like chocolate chip ice cream or vanilla ice cream? If I asked you that question, what would you say?
Both.
Both, okay. But what did I instantly assume? That you liked ice cream.
Exactly.
When really my question should have been, Tamara, when you crave something sweet, what do you do? Or maybe even what causes you to crave something sweet? So now I'm starting to actually get to the root of that, of that cause of you wanting something sweet. So I can actually go out and build that business based on the want or the need or the actual market cue from that customer. What you do is you have to get enough data points to verify that. So that's kind of what we preach and what we do with our business plans is, how can we make this real? How can we make this tangible? So you actually know, pretty well that you have a product market fit for what you're doing. And then let's build the business plan around that. So we want to build the bones first to make sure that there is a market fit and then help you with that business plan moving forward. And as Mark stated, we have all kinds of tools. We have Live Plan that we can work on with you simultaneously, offering feedback and, have you thought about this? And that's an online software that we can offer, so that's one tool. So you can go ahead, Mark. Go to the next slide. Okay, so financials and analysis. Who here with a show of hands likes financials, just loves getting into financial statements, business plan, balance sheets, income statements, sales projections? We got any hands?
Diane is the only hand going up, I'm sure.
They have one or two, but most of the time, people like their business. They like what they do. They like providing that good or that service, but they really don't like the financials of it, and that's okay. But what you have to do is say, okay, do I have a blind spot somewhere, and what resources do I have to fill those gaps? And that's one thing that we can do as the small business center. Say, okay, let's take your balance sheet, let's take your income statement, let's common size those, which is taking it as a percentage of a metric. So if an income statement is common size, we would take it as a percentage of the sales, and then we can benchmark that with other people in your industry and say, okay, well, your cost of goods is 42%. And the industry is 25%. We may need to look at our suppliers here and see what's going on. Maybe there's a good reason for that. Maybe there isn't. We can take a look at your salaries, your payroll, and say, okay, well, industry average for your, for your market, for your industry is, 40%, and you're at 60%. So what's going on there? Or maybe everything looks pretty clean and there's some additional things that we can draw from your financials. I always say, it's kind of like if you have, if you're measuring your, your heart rate, all of those things, that you're taking into account for your health, all those health numbers, you can't really make changes if you don't know your numbers. So it's the same thing about your business. You have to know that the financial stability and the financial health of your business to really be able to say, if I make this decision, am I doing it right for my business, or maybe is it wrong for my business? So that's really what we want to assist with when it comes to financials, is understanding those financial statements and really putting those to work for you as a business owner. So that's just a few examples. We have tools there, Profit Sense, different tools that we can take and input your data, which is what this report is showing here. It showcases where you're healthy, where you're not, and then gives us things to work on for that. So not only do I talk about these things, but we have actual tools that we can enter your information in and try to get you some good, solid feedback to move forward with. So go ahead, Mark. Okay, so market research. This isn't probably the best language, but I always say crap in, crap out, right? If you've ever heard that. So if we're not asking the right question to go out and actually get some market research on, it's going to be, we're going to be running in circles, chasing our tails, so to speak. So just what I did with that ice cream example earlier, let's really identify what it is that you need to help you take that next step. Is it identifying what that total market is for the toothpaste, for that gum? Or maybe is it really identifying who the competitors are out there that are offering similar products? I had somebody come in that said, I don't have any competition. And I said, well, what about Amazon? And he said, oh, crap. Yeah, Amazon is my competition. So it's just thinking about those market dynamics. Who are you as a company? Who are those customers, and what does that competitive landscape look like? And where do you fit with all three of those? And what do you need help answering from a market research standpoint that can help you take that next step? So really the market research side comes from us talking with you to really identify that root problem or that root opportunity that we may be able to help you get some information around. And we have some proprietary tools for that. We have 3 or 4 different databases that we can access that can get you some of that information. But really, it's about asking the right question. Because if we don't have the right question, we're going to be wasting our time. And that is not what we want to do with our business owners. You all are busy. We want to make sure your time is valuable and you think we're adding value to that. So that's kind of how we work on the market research side. So that's just a real quick example of 3 main things that we talk with businesses about. And then the next 3 or 4 slides just kind of showcase some of those tools. I'll give some quick examples and then we can get into any questions. We want to make sure we leave time for that. So I talked about that customer discovery earlier. And that's really where this business model canvas comes in. You know, it's finding that product market fit. Who are your actual customers and why in the heck are they buying from you? I have a quick example. I do a Boots to Business training for the Veteran Center, the Veterans Outreach Center. And I go over normally to Fort Leonard Wood and talk with those businesses or talk with those transitioning military members about if they're an entrepreneur or want to start a business. And I already had a guy that was in business. And I said, well, what do you do? And he said, well, I make stuff. So I paused for a minute and I said, how successful are you at marketing? I make stuff. And he said, not very successful. And I said, okay, well, tell me a little bit about the products that you make. And what we found out was that he could take somebody's antique or a different piece and create maybe that nostalgic experience. You know, you have an armoire that, that maybe was handed down in your family and you need it restored, or you want something built that looks like it. That's really what he was doing, but he hadn't quite verbalized it yet. So we looked at the canvas and we said, okay, well, who are your customers and what value are you providing? And let's make sure that these match up. And once he really understood, I'm selling that nostalgic experience. This is who my target is. Well, now we can take those next steps to say, okay, let's build out your business model. Let's build out your business plan and let's go after more of these types of customers. It sounds like it's common sense, but a lot of times doing the work and taking the time to do it is not common sense because it's tough to do. You know, so I always say, are you talking to your customers all the time? Are you talking to your employees all the time? And, you know, if you're somebody that goes in and says, you know, well, we do this, right? You know, and you put that out there, sometimes that doesn't give your employees the ability to say, well, I'm seeing this, you know, in our business, because you want them to take an entrepreneurial spirit as well. So, you know, how can we leverage our employees and our clients to really build our business? And that's really what that canvas is all about. So that's one tool real quick. Growth Wheel is another tool that we have. It segments your business into 20 different factors. So you can see that wheel there's 5 in each sector. And what that does is it gives us all kinds of decision sheets. I have to be real careful when I say that. It gives us as counselors all kinds of decision sheets to walk through some of those items with you as a business owner. And it really is a great tool for us to not waste your time, for it to be very strategic and say, these are the 3 things we're working on today. And we've identified those through this conversation. Here are things that you can take as homework and let's move forward together. So Growth Wheel is a really good tool to keep everybody on task, you know, to keep us as honest consultants. So go ahead, Mark. Okay, some additional tools there. As we said with the market research, we have Vertical IQ, we have BizMiner. BizMiner has a really awesome SWOT analysis tool. I always thought growing up, going through school, you know, I ended up going into commercial lending. I was a banker for about 5 years and then been doing the Sbdc work for about 5 years. I thought, oh, everybody always wants to do these dang SWOTs, and do they really do anything? But then I actually saw companies that actually did a really nice SWOT and put that to work. And I'm like, wow, these SWOT analysis can be super beneficial if you do it right. So the BizMiner tool that does that SWOT analysis is fantastic. You know, so these are just additional tools that we have that can help you decide, am I going to make a confident decision based on my next step? And that's what these tools help us do as counselors, is make sure that we're asking the right questions and getting to that root cause and identifying either that right opportunity or that right pain point that we want to assist you with. So Mark, did you have anything to add on that BizMiner? I know you use it quite a bit.
Right. It's a wonderful financial analysis tool. I mean, in addition to over 5,000 industry benchmarks, and it's segmented by revenue. So, you know, you do under 500, you do over 10 million or whatever it is. But then it also allows us to do a non-binding business evaluation. So if you're wondering what your business is worth, or if you're looking at doing an acquisition, we can give you a ballpark. It's non-binding, but it's actually the same tools that a business evaluation professional would use to determine the value of an existing business. And then the SWOT analysis is a financial SWOT analysis that relates the different factors that you put in, and anywhere from 20 to 25 inputs. Of course, the more information you have over 2 to 3 years, 3 years, 25 inputs from your balance sheet and your P&L. And it comes back with a really good analysis of the relationship of your financials to your operation. So we can look at your operating cycle and see, and it pulls in benchmark data to compare you to other people in your segment. And it's a great tool for us to see if when we look at your financial statements, if they're on point. And then, if what our analysis compares to that, if both of them match up, we know we're heading in the right direction, right? Of course, as Traven mentioned before, it's garbage in, garbage out. So it's only as good as information that we put into those tools. But I found it a wonderful tool, to really dig deep and to give a business owner a sense of where they stand, not only in the market, but then, to look at how to draw that relationship between their P&L, their balance sheet, and their operating cycle, quick ratio, and some of the other things that, a bank may look at. So.
Great, thanks, Mark. Yeah, and so these are tools that we can use to help you as a business owner. So that's why we're kind of showcasing them today, is just to say, hey, these are things that we can do. So Profit Sense is another one. It's a financial tool, as Mark stated there with BizMiner. It can do a lot of those things as well. It's just an additional tool that we have. Esri is another tool that's kind of like the Amazon of GIS. Which is Geographic Information Systems. It's mapping. One thing that Esri can do is if you were to have some of your customer information like addresses, we can actually take those and say, okay, you have 100 customer addresses. We can upload that to our Esri database, and then we can get you a profile of your top 5 customers, or however many we want to access. And what Esri has done is it has taken every zip code in the United States and said, okay, there are 67 archetypes. There are 67, of course, nothing is exact, but they've basically broken down the United States into 67 different buying sectors. And they've put together four pagers of these types of consumers. So we can find those pockets of consumers like your top 5 consumers. So if you're thinking about expanding or trying to go maybe somewhere different in Missouri or maybe somewhere in a different state, we can give you a pretty good idea of where pockets of people look like your best customers. Then we can do additional research from there. But that's one thing that Esri can do that's pretty powerful, is really give you an idea of what your customers look like. A lot of times that's really tough to know what your customer persona is, or your avatar customer. One quick note there, I did this for a client in Rolla, and they found that most of their types of customers or archetypes shopped at chain stores like Academy, Marshalls, all those types of stores. So they wrapped their vehicle and started parking their vehicle in the parking lot at the new TJ Maxx and Petco, because you can park there. So they wrapped their vehicle, parked their vehicle there every weekend, and their sales jumped 15%. Just by doing that, you might think that's common sense, but it gave them a purpose by understanding that not only the demographics and psychographics of their customers, it just gave them that push that said, okay, this is something that I can invest in, that I think I'll get a return on investment on. So that's just a couple of different ways that we've used Esri as a tool there. So go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, and Esri is a great tool in that you can do a really close analysis. So if you're wondering, okay, I've got 2 locations in Fulton, which one is better for my business? And then we determine this is who your primary customer is, and we can do like a 20-minute drive time analysis. I've also used it for a barbecue chain. Was looking at different locations actually around the country, and they gave me locations, and we pulled up beef consumption, pork consumption, and things like that. And one location, it was really low, and one city they were trending toward, versus a couple of the other locations that their partners wanted to consider. But when you see 300% beef and pork consumption in one county, and something that's below national average at the location they were considering, that was a real eye opener for them. And it really amazed me that we can really drill down to that kind of information of, what types of food consumptions in different areas, and overlay that to help make that, that decision. And then on the micro level, you can determine, okay, this is, how much people in this street make on average, and where's our demographic, and where are we position our business? So which location would be better? And then the drive time analysis. There's just so many things in Esri. It's amazing. And so.
Yeah, and they call those customer archetypes a tapestry segmentation. So that's like the 60-some tapestries that they've built out. And like I said, it gives you a 4-pager, not only about the demographics of those clients, but about the psychographics too, how they like to shop, what their family size is. And you can take that, and they've done it for every zip code in the United States. So it's a really powerful tool, as Mark stated there. We can use it in a variety of ways to try to help you answer whatever question it is that we're trying to answer. So real quick, business reference guide, BRG, we look at this as a evaluation tool. It gives us a lot of industry standards and benchmarks. It can say, well, if you're thinking about selling your business or buying your business, it's 2x EBITDA, if I say that correctly, which is earnings for interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So we can take a look at your financials or a business's financials and really get a ballpark of what that business may be worth or what it should be doing. It also gives a variety of information from a financial standpoint. And then Sbdc Net, I know, Mark, you have a lot of experience with Sbdc Net. This is actually a proprietary market research tool, but Mark, I'll let you kind of jump in and talk through Sbdc Net before we move forward.
Sure. So Sbdc Net has a variety of services, and we contract with the University of Austin, and they have a bunch of PhDs, MBAs with different specializations, from human resources and just different areas of interest. And all they do, Monday through Friday, is business research. And so they really specialize in business research. So primarily, I use them when a client comes to me. We'll put a request in, and what we'll get is a couple business plans from similar companies that were previously funded by the SBA. And then we'll look at a market analysis, a general. And then they'll also pull a lot of articles on your industry, general startup cost, or if you're farther along, we may do a market analysis. And, a general report if you printed all the paperwork out and all the output from one of their research requests, it'd probably be a file of 2 to 3 inches, when we actually used to use paper and print it out. And it just amazed me, the amount of data. And another thing you always get is, okay, who's in your segment, and what's their revenue? How many employees do they have? What's the owner's salary? And then you get to see all that broken out. And I know when I first started doing this, some of that information I couldn't believe you can get to, right? And so that's a service that we're able to provide a lot of information. It usually takes 2 to 3 weeks to get a request back. And then you can also use it for free form. You're just saying, hey, I got this idea, or I have this issue, and could you give me some information on it? And we can use that tool. And that helps us kind of get that foundation and determine what our next steps are. And because usually they put out a very wide net, and then we start to drill that down, right? And as we determine the direction we're going to go, and what's the appropriate next steps. And it's really important that we keep moving forward, right? And we keep making those decisions. And that's what we want to help small business owners do, is to make that, to keep moving forward. And sometimes you misstep, right? But then what's important is not that we misstepped, but what we learned from that, and then what's our next step, and that we keep progressing. And we learned from that misstep. So, what have we done? What's our success? And a couple of our metrics. So in our 2019 2020 year, we helped small business owners get about 228 million in loans and other types of capital investments. We helped increase sales by 326 million. And through such avenues as government contracting, market research, and so forth. And then we helped create about 2,374 jobs, right? And that's these numbers are fairly accurate. There's some reporting issues, and of course, there's some of our success we don't always collect on, but these are some of the metrics that the SBA judges how we're doing, and I think they're pretty good numbers. We stack up well when we compare to other states. For example, when we're helping business owners get PPP loans and EIDL loans, I'm sure a lot of you went down that path. And because of our relationship with the SBA, we're getting the same information the lenders are getting, and in some cases, we're getting more information than the lenders are getting, and we're helping the lenders. What are their next steps? So I spent a lot of my time during the initial PPP and the EIDL rollout educating lenders. Obviously, lenders had nothing to do with EIDL, but they were wondering how that impacted PPP, and so. And so that's something that the last 3 to 6 months, we spent a lot of time doing, and our relationship with the SBA being funded by them really put us in a good position to help small business owners. Now, of course, the process kept changing and the parameters kept changing, and that was kind of frustrating for everybody involved. But hopefully, everyone had a good experience, at least at the end of that. So what we're here to talk about today is the Missouri Spdc Engagement Center, which Jennifer and Bob Schwartz are heading up, and their goal is to help. One of the things that we found and that we hear from small business owners over and over is that you're one of the best kept secrets. I wish I would have known before I did this. I wish I would have known when I started my business. I wish I would have known before I bought that, or other things of that nature. So Jennifer and Bob are heading up this new initiative to help do outreach and connect business owners to the Sbdc, to resources and a counselor that can help them with whatever issue they're struggling with, and of course it's all at no cost. And so their team, here we have Jennifer and Gretchen and Liz and Bob. And then I'm missing a slide here, guys. I'm missing, Jennifer or Bob, do you want to talk about the Outreach Center? I'm missing that slide.
Yeah, I'm happy to mention a few words about it, Mark. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that. Our goal is to basically call business owners and offer the services that you've heard about this morning to see if we might be able to assist those business owners. So we're grateful for all of you on the call today. Certainly, you have a chance to do a deeper dive in terms of understanding the types of services and tools and resources we can provide. So if you're interested in connecting with a counselor, happy just to go ahead and have you put your contact info into the chat, and we'll have a counselor reach out to you. If not, but you do wind up hooking up with some of our counselors, our services. Happy to have you share what we do with others, and we are here to assist. So the purpose of our center is to try to make calls to businesses who may not know about us and to offer the services to those businesses.
Thank you, Bob. And it was there this morning when I was going through it. It was there. I must have inadvertently did something trying to be prepared for the meeting. So I apologize. Thank you for that. Jennifer, did you have anything?
No, just thank you to Tamara just for the opportunity to kind of work with you all on this. Again, we have students that we're working with that are in their final year of school with the university, and they've been working really hard doing a lot of desk research in the area, learning about the businesses, the business climate. And as they reach out to businesses, really are just going to be asking some introductory questions to get you connected with Mark and his team. Our goal is to, as quickly as possible, be able to help folks with a pathway to the Mizzou Center. So we look forward to working with the folks in Callaway County. And, as Bob said, if you want to drop your name to either Bob or myself, if you don't feel comfortable sending it out to everyone in the chat, or at the end of the presentation, there's an email that you can send that to as well. We look forward to visiting with you.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Well, and thank you all for spending time with us today. Do you have any questions for us? There.
I asked people to put questions in the chat, and I have not received any questions. Can you put up your contact information so that people can jot that down?
Hopefully, my screen is blinking, so hopefully it's coming through on for you guys. So here's the information for the engagement center. My cell phone is 636-357-5745. And, my direct email would be christianma@missouri.edu. We would like, as many people as possible to go through the engagement center. But if anyone, needs to reach out immediately, I'm always available. I try to be as available as much as possible.
So we did have a question, Mark. So are the same tools and services available at the LU Sbdc in Jefferson City?
Absolutely. I work with Lauren a lot. I primarily do help them with government contracting and so forth. But Lauren and I are actually co-sponsoring the Profit Mastery courses.
Okay. And so when you say government contracting, can you kind of just give us a quick, what is that and how do you all go about doing that?
Right. Whether it's city, state, county, federal, will help you develop your solicitation, find if and when appropriate, where possible contracts that you could apply for or qualify for are. We can also help you, and that means not just locating solicitation, but developing what's called a capability statement to market yourself to the government. And then also the steps that you take to register with SAM if you're going for a federal contract, or with MOBICE if you're going for a state contract. But then also, if you're looking at working with the city of Columbia or the city of Fulton, any of those type of things, it's a lot of similar process. And we have a free tool called Bid Match. And if you are looking, you could tell me, hey, I want to find contracts that maybe my business could bid on within 50 miles of Fulton. Or you could say, or throughout the state of Missouri, or you could say in Illinois, Missouri, Iowa, or federal contracts anywhere in the U.S. So whatever whatever parameters you have, the bid match system, we can kind of program it. It's like Google, right? With the right keywords, and come up with just solicitations that you would be interested in bidding on. But just like in Google, it takes sometimes it takes a few times to get those keywords right. So instead of going out and looking at all the state websites and all the agency websites and different federal agency websites and so forth to determine if there's a possible contract that you're interested in, you should be able to get those solicitations in an email, right? And so you're spending more time bidding and less time looking for opportunities to bid. And
Okay.
so it's a great program. And, if you were in a similar program as an individual or company, if you go out and sign up, it would cost you probably, this particular service would cost you about $1,300 a year. And because we bulk it up, right? We put all of our clients and we pay for it. Right now, we're able to offer that for free to our clients. So I think that's a great service. Now, having said that, not everyone is a good fit for government contracting.
Right.
And I would suggest that you need to look at government contracts as a way to diversify your revenue stream, right? We see a lot of business owners, they think that, hey, I got a good contract, I'm doing great, and that's the only thing they have to do. And then they lose that contract and they're lost, right? And also, there are a lot of cash flow issues, right? Especially initially as you get into government contract, that you need to be prepared for. And by diversifying your revenue streams, it makes you better able to handle those. When that 30-day contract, the government's going to pay, but it should be a 30-day turnaround on pay and so forth. But a lot of times, if it's your initial contract with an agency, it may take 60 or 90 days before you get that first check, and you've got to carry, those employees and all your overhead, and you've got to perform. You don't perform, you probably won't get another contract with that agency, especially at the federal level. So we kind of help people baby step through the process and try to make sure they're ready before they take that next step. And of course, we suggest that you start local, right? Because you can manage that better, and there's less repercussions of if you do fail. And then also you look at subcontracting to learn more about how the contract actually operates and so forth. And as a subcontractor, the prime has to carry. They have to pay you. They may not get paid yet, but they have to pay you. And so there's a lot less stress on the small business owner, and it helps. Helps that learning curve. So, and then in addition, we help with all your certifications, whether it's a state certification or, City of St. Louis has their own certification, Kansas City has their own certifications. So we help with that process.
Okay. All right. So we did have another question. Profit Mastery, is that for Columbia businesses only or a class site located in Columbia only? How is that going to work? Because I've heard of Profit Mastery. I went through kind of the cliff notes of Profit Mastery before they had the main kickoff at the Callaway Bank 2 years ago. But I think it's something that's very beneficial, especially for small businesses. I have a couple of small businesses in our community that just swear by Profit Mastery and go to it every time it happens because they always learn something new. So can you kind of tell us about how that's going to take place? Is that through Zoom? Is it in the classroom? Who can sign up? How much does it cost?
It's going to be through Zoom. It's going to be virtual. And we're going to initially offer it to clients in Lorna and Jeff City, in Lincoln's area and my area. So my 6 county clients will get first preference. We have about 50 seats available. I'm still working on the cost. I think we're going to be able to cover the initial cost for this pilot. And if it's successful, then we'll do others. So I've been through the program, and I've been through different segments of the course a few times, and we're looking at certifying, me becoming a certified facilitator, so we can offer it live and without having to bring in somebody from Seattle to teach the course. And then Lauren at Lincoln is also looking to become a certified facilitator. And then so if the pilot goes well, and thank you so much for that feedback. That just makes me feel good about it, because we haven't done that through the Sbdc before. Callaway invited, well, actually the Profit Mastery invited me to sit in on the Callaway. I'd been at National Convention and sit on and believed in them. And then when they were in town, they said, "Hey, why don't you come sit in?" because we don't have any facilitators here in Missouri. And so I'm really excited that, if it goes well, we will become certified facilitators, and we'll be able to offer it, on a regular basis.
So
Yes.
is Callaway County in your territory where people?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
That's key. So when will we know the dates for that and how to sign up?
So I'm still trying to get them paid so they can come offer. But right now we have dates set in February. Everything's been approved. I just need to hear back from Steve that he got it, and then we'll start the marketing. But tentatively, we have dates starting in February.
Okay. And you
And
said
then
it's going to be 6 different classes.
It'll be a 6-week course.
Okay.
And the way it's set up, and that we can offer for free, is that Steve will come in and facilitate, and then we will record it, and then you'll do a class, and if you miss a class, it's recorded. Or if you need to review material, it's recorded. And then after the class, before the next class, then you need to meet with the Sbdc counselor, in case you had any questions or anything like that, to discuss it, the class and so forth, in a one-on-one setting with each student in the class. And then the next week we do it again. And again, you can review the video material, and if you miss one, the video material is going to be there available for you. And so it's really kind of trying to combine, all the best in education theory, right?
Mhm.
That you provide that one-on-one counseling so that the folks that don't want to ask questions during a class can get that one-on-one, and they can ask those questions and deal with their particular business, whatever they're struggling with, whatever they're in the class, these questions they have, they'll have someone they can go to that is also in the class, more than likely, that can answer their questions, right? And then they come back the next week, and there'll be an overview again of what was covered the previous week, and then the new material, and then it all will be recorded, and you do it again for 6 weeks. So.
Well, in our chat over here, Cindy Baker, which is one of our business owners, she owns Aaron Runners, and she's also one of the counselors for the Missouri Women's Business Center, has taken Profit Mastery twice, and she says it's well worth the investment. And I've heard that from several other businesses in Callaway County that have went through the program. So we're excited about that you all will be offering that.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to be able to offer it, a few times a year. To keep your certification as an instructor, you have to offer it at least once a year. So hopefully we'll be able to offer it way more than once a year.
Okay, well, perfect. Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, we really appreciate Mark and Jennifer and Bob and Travis for their time today. We look forward to working with the Sbdc over the coming weeks and assisting our businesses in Callaway County. I will send out an email to those that participated today with the contact information for the Sbdc. There was an email that went out yesterday that gave a website so that they could get more information. But if you need help connecting with the Sbdc or help with some specific items with your business, just let us know and we will help you with that partnership. So I appreciate your time today and thank you for joining us.
Thank you all so much. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks, Tamara.